Hello. Today, before we dive into quantum operations, I want to give you a little bit of a historical perspective. It gives you insight into why we're teaching you to code in quantum computing much differently from how one would normally go about learning to code in a classical computing environment. So let's look at the development of classical computers. Classical computers were designed to mimic human operations, calculations, in fact. So Pascal invented a calculator, and in World War II, the development was driven by the need to calculate firing tables that would look at the angle and the distance you needed to fire and weather conditions so that we could have accurate firing during the war. And it was actually other people like Ada Lovelace who envisioned other uses for this, like composing music. And it was Grace Hopper who took a step back and said, wait, these are really hard to program. We should really use a programming language that has some English language features instead of writing all of our programs just so the machine can understand it. And over decades, these languages have changed and developed so that they're quite easy to understand, especially the ones designed for children learning coding. Development of quantum computing has been completely different. This started with scientists observing phenomenon and not knowing what to do with it. And eventually, there have been many uses, only one of which is computing. And so someone said, oh, well, maybe we could harness these for computation. And only if we harness these unique features are we going to get something that gives us an advantage over classical computing, because we're looking at a technology that wasn't designed for that, right? Quantum computers were never designed to mimic how humans perform tasks. We already have a technology that does that and does that well for certain tasks that humans do quickly. And so these are the products of an observation of these unique features that can be harnessed. And so the only way we're going to win is if we are able to do things that humans can't do quickly in a way that somehow the quantum properties allow it to be faster. So in some sense, quantum computing is a hammer in search of a nail. What are those applications that are both very hard for classical computers, intractable in fact, and also able to be solved on quantum computers? So really the differences are at the most basic level, and we don't yet have languages that hide those basic level details. So to understand how quantum computers perform computation, we really need to start with those basic quantum operations. And we recognize that this is very different from how people learn to program classical computers today, but that's how we go about it until someone figures out how to express those operations and features in a way that hides the detail and still retains the ability to get the benefit out of it. We're stuck with this system, and no one has thought exactly how to do that yet successfully.